Good morning, children. Today we'll continue with the third portion of the lesson, Bepin Choudhury's Lapse of Memory. So please take page number 65. After lunchtime, Bepin Babu realized that he couldn't possibly carry on sitting at his desk and working. So after lunch, he was thinking why I forgot those things. He was not able to do his work. This had never happened in 25 years he had been with this firm. So this had never happened. Nothing of such happened in 25 years. He had a reputation of being a tireless, conscientious worker, but today his head was in a whirl. So he had never been tired. He had never been tired and he was careful and correct in his work. But today his head was in a whirl means he was very much confused. Back home at 2:30, Bepin Babu lay down in bed and tried to gather his wits together. So at 2:30 he reached home. He was lying in his bed and he was recalling what the thing happened. He knew that it was possible to lose one's memory through an injury in the head. So he knows that if any injury happens to head, we may lose memory. But he didn't know of a single instance of someone remembering everything except one particular incident. So he remembered everything, but this particular instance only he forgot. So, and a very recent and significant one at that. He had always wanted to go Ranji, to have gone there, done things and not to remember was something utterly impossible. So he longed, he wished, he loved to go to Ranji, but he was waiting to go to Ranji, but he had gone there and he had forgot what happened in the Ranchi. At 7:30, Bepin Babu's servant came and announced, Chuni Babu, sir. So servant calls Bepin Babu as Chuni Babu. Sir says, it is very important. Bepin Babu knew that Chuni had come for. Chuni Lal had been at school with him. So this Bepin Babu's servant is called Chuni Lal. He was with Bepin Babu in school also. He hadn't been given a rough time lately and had been coming to see him about a job. So this Chuni Babu has come here to get a job. Bepin Babu knew it was not possible to do anything for him and in fact told him so. But Chuni kept turning up like a bad penny. Bad penny means coming back. So this Chuni Babu came here to get a job. So this was not possible for Bepin Babu. So always this person comes and asks him what about the job. Bepin Babu sent words that not only it was not possible for him to see Chuni now, but not in several weeks. So here this one, Bepin Babu is telling Chuni Babu not to come because he is very busy now and for several weeks he will be busy. So please don't come and meet me now. But as soon as the servant stepped out of the room, it struck Bepin Babu that Chuni might remember something about the 58th trip. So this servant came and told Chuni Babu has come to meet you. So Bepin Babu is telling don't ask him to come now because I am busy and several weeks I will be busy. So please don't come now. Then only an idea struck in Bepin Babu's mind. This Chuni Babu may remember about the 58th year. That is 1958, about that trip in Ranchi. There was no harm in asking him. Bepin Babu hurried down the stairs and into the living room. Chuni was about to leave, but seeing Bepin Babu appear, he turned round hopefully. Bepin Babu didn't beat about the bush. Beat about the bush is an idiom that means not to talk unnecessary things. Directly come to a point. That is beat around the bush. Listen, Chuni, I want to ask you something. You have a good memory and you have been seeing me off and on for a long time. Just throw your mind back and tell me, did I go to Ranji in 1958? So he is telling, I want to ask you something. You have a good memory. Did I go to Ranji in 1958? Chuni said, 58? It must have been 58 or it was in 59. You are sure that I did go to Ranji? Chuni look of amazement was not mixed with worry. Do you mean you have doubts about having gone at all? So this Bepin Babu is asking, are you sure that I went to Ranji in 58? So this Chuni is asking, do you have a doubt or do you think that you have never gone over there? Did I go? Do you remember clearly? Chuni sat down on the sofa, fixed Bepin Babu with a long, hard stare and said, Bepin, have you taken to drugs or something? As far as I know, you had a clean record where such things were concerned. So Chuni is sitting and asking, did you take any drugs? I know that you are clear about that habit. You are not having any such habit. But I'm confused. I'm asking you whether did you take any drugs? I know that old friendship doesn't mean much to you, but at least you have got a good memory. You can't really mean that you have forgotten about the Ranji trip. I know that you have a good memory, but did you forget the Ranji trip? Chuni is asking Bepin Babu. Bepin Babu had to turn away from Chuni's incredulous stare. Incredulous means that powerful stare. Stare means looking into the eyes. Do you remember what my last job was? Asked Chunilal. Of course, you worked in a travel agency. So Chunilal is having a doubt. He had some memory problem. So Chuni is asking, do you remember my last work? So Bepin Babu is telling, yes, of course, I remember you were working in a travel agency. You remember that and you don't remember that it was I who fixed you railway booking for Ranji. And you remember that I worked in a travel agency and I was the person who booked ticket to Ranchi. I went to the station to see you off. One of the fans in your compartment was not working. I got an electrician to fix it. So Chunilal is telling, I was the one who took you to the railway station, and when you sat in the train, one of the fans were not working and I made an electrician to fix the fan. You don't look too well, you know. Bepin Babu sighed and shook his head. I have been working too hard, he said at last. That must be the reason. Must see about consulting a specialist. So Bepin Babu is telling, this Chunilal is telling, you are not looking good. Do you have some problem? So Bepin Babu is telling, I was working very hard this week. I'm having some problem. I must consult a specialist. Doubtless, it was Bepin's condition which made Chunilal leave without mentioning anything about the job. So, in this condition, Chunilal was not able to speak about his job. Parish Chanda was a young physician with a pair of bright eyes and sharp nose. Sharp means pointed nose. He became thoughtful when he heard about Bepin Babu's symptom. Look, Mr. Chanda, said Bepin Babu desperately. You must cure me of this horrible illness. I can't tell you how it's affecting my work. So this Bepin Babu is going and telling Mr. Chanda, that is a doctor, about his illness, and he is telling, you must treat me. I can't work with this illness. I'm not able to work with this illness. Mr. Chanda shook his head. You know that, Mr. Choudhury, he said, I have never had to deal with a case such as yours. Frankly, this is outside my field of experience. But I have one suggestion. I don't know if it will work, but it's worth a try. I can do no harm. And this doctor is telling, I have not had any experience as in your case. I don't have any experience, but I'll give you one suggestion. It is a no harm. It doesn't cause any harm if you try this. Bepin Babu leaned forward anxiously. As far as I can make out, said Dr. Chanda, and I think you are of the same opinion. You must have been to Ranji, but due to some unknown reason, the entire episode had slipped out of your mind. So, doctor is telling you have gone to Ranji, but I don't know what is the reason, but entire thing has been erased from your memory. What I suggest is that you go to Ranji once again. So, doctor is telling you do one thing, you once again go to Ranji. The sight of the place may remind you of your trip. This is not impossible. So, his doctor is saying, if you go to Ranji, the places over there will remind you about your last trip. This is possible. More than that, I cannot do at that moment. So the doctor said, and more than that, I can't do anything. This is the only suggestion I have. I am prescribing a nerve tonic and a tranquilizer. So nerve tonic means to reduce the stress. Tranquilizer means the medicine that is given to reduce the stress. Sleep is essential or the symptom will get pronounced. So you have to sleep properly, otherwise this will affect you more. Bipin Babu felt somewhat better the next morning. After breakfast, he ran up his office, gave some instruction and he preoccupied a first class ticket for Ranjit for the same evening. So he went to the office, did some important works and he booked a ticket to Ranjit that evening itself. So this is the third portion. Hope you have understood the third portion. See you in the next class with the fourth portion. Till then, take care. Goodbye.